guys, it is Teenage DC Fan, back with another video, and in today's video, I will be reviewing the season premiere of Krypton. So this is the second season of Krypton. I really liked the first season, and I'm really looking forward to see more of this season, especially with all the villains that we've got going on. And this was a pretty good episode. Parts of it were okay, others were great. Especially the parts with Lobo, because Lobo's an awesome character. I'm glad that they're introducing him on this show. So, anyway, this episode is titled Lightyears from Home, and I guess let's just get right into the review. So, of course, Seg is still in the Phantom Zone with Brainiac, and then Zod is taking over Krypton or Kandor or whatever. And so basically, the Seg's grandfather somehow got out of the Phantom Zone. That wasn't really too explained too well, but I mean, we don't really need it explained, because before he was on the show, but it was just a hologram of him, but now he's actually back. But of course he hasn't met up with his grandson since then, because, well, Seg is in the Phantom Zone, like I said. And, so Adam Strange and Nyssa and, like, those people, they're all together forming a rebellion, or, like, just trying to avoid getting captured by the Sagittarius, or whatever the security team is called out there. And so, basically, Nyssa also has the baby now that Seg is the father of. So I don't really know how that baby's connected to Superman, although I can kind of figure it out, because I think Seg is Superman's great-grandfather. So, and then also we know that Zod is, like, General Zod is Seg's son. So he has two sons, Zod and then Kor something, whatever this baby's name is. So, and then basically those would be the grandfathers of of Superman. Yeah, that. So yeah, it can get a little confusing, but anyway, the Adam uses his I don't really remember what it's called, but Zeta Beam. Yes, his Zeta Beam thing to teleport to where Seg is, and I'll get into that when I talk more about Seg. And basically he escapes while the others are getting attacked. And everyone escapes except for Nyssa, because she goes off to find her father, because, you know, she is, last season she found out that she was a clone of the real Nyssa, and Nyssa died, and that she is actually a clone, and she was a clone this whole time, but she never knew that, so she went to go find her father. But then, well, it's kind of hard to explain because I forgot her name already, but it's the one that was hooking up with Seg last season, the one that's the mother of Zod. And that whole situation is pretty trippy too, because Zod's older than her, but she's his mother, and that's obviously because he's from the future. So yeah, there's a lot of hard stuff to explain with this show, like family connections and stuff like that. So yeah, basically, she shows up and kills Nyssa's father. So then she takes Nyssa back to Zod. Zod gets the baby, which I think is his brother. And then I think that's where they leave it off with them. But now we can actually get into the good parts of the episode with Seg and Brainiac and Lobo and Adam Strange and stuff like that. So Seg and Brainiac are in the Phantom Zone, but at first we only see Seg. And then Seg's grandfather shows up. But he says there's just a projection of him from Seg's mind. And of course Seg believes that. So then his grandfather tells him that he needs to take this crystal thing and stab it through this wormhole portal thingy. And so then Seg does that. But then they go through the portal, and then Seg realizes that that was Brainiac, and Brainiac was tricking him. But now they're like still stuck together, and they're stranded on Brainiac's home planet, which is basically a jungle. And they thought that it was that there wasn't anybody living there, and I don't think there is, but somebody shows up at the end, and I'll get into that more because right now, basically Seg and Brainiac were just walking through the forest. I don't really know where they were trying to get to. Like, I know they were trying to get back to Krypton, but I don't know how they would have done that. But then, basically, Adam Strange shows up. He sees Seg, runs over to him, and then, like, Seg isn't responding to him, and then he looks at the ground, and Brainiac is laying there, dead. So, that's kind of disappointing. Brainiac's dead. I mean, we barely saw him. I get that he was the main villain of last season, but it's still kind of sad that he's dead now. Like, there's just a huge hole in his brain. So yeah, that's kind of disappointing. But then they reunite and stuff, and then they start walking around, and they hear like almost like a werewolf howl, and then they just start running until they run into Lobo, and they don't have time to ask questions like who he is or what he's doing there and stuff, because Lobo just knocks them out, so then they're on the ground. And then he starts talking to them, and then he realizes that they're knocked out. Like, oh, I should have asked you these questions before I knocked you out. But then he hooks them up to this chain, and then just starts dragging them. And I love the way that Lobo looks on this. Like, his costume, his hair, and stuff like that, it all looks awesome. It would be cool if we got to see the Space Hog at some point in the season, which, if you don't know, is Lobo's, like, space motorcycle. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened in the episode. I'm looking forward to seeing Doomsday show up at some point. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you in my next video so I can bestow all my DC knowledge upon you.